Welcome everybody to the Toku Portal podcast for the Super Sentai series Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger. I am VashieV and I am here with...
Decade.
Right.
Today we're talking about Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger episode 6. And the episode starts off with Hami recapping, which was pretty great. You had something to say about that earlier, Vashie? I forgot what it was.
There's, I'm sure, going to be a ton of gripe with this podcast for this episode. Most notable being with the way that the consistent one so far has been with the fact that they're on Earth already. And with all the promise that this series had for, intergalactic travel and whatnot, or, however that would work, it was nice to see the fact that while, yes, I feel that that they shouldn't have hit Earth until towards the end of this series, it gives me a little bit of hope that there will be intergalactic missions and stuff like that with the way Hami made the introduction, because towards the end of it, she mentions that they're there to liberate Earth and then the universe. So I'm hoping that actually follows suit and actually happens.
I can get behind that. We could definitely use more planet hopping in this Space Sentai.
Definitely. So, first we cut to Raptor talking about, just basically reiterating the governors, how they're extracting planesium, while also tormenting civilians in their different twisted ways. And, of course, Lucky makes another food pun joke or whatever. He hears Ramune juice. I have no idea what that is. And then Spada kind of accidentally gets caught up in it when he's trying to talk about the planesium.
It's funny because Spada's a chef.
I like that because I actually know what ramen is, and I actually enjoy that drink because it's essentially a soda pop, but it's sealed with a marble that you have to poke into the bottle. But yeah.
Yeah. So then Champ laughs at him, and Raptor explains that they're liberating Danbiru's territory. He makes people suffer with his harsh rules, and Balance says he doesn't like rules. Raptor says, yeah, he's not alone. Lucky gets all fired up, but then Hami suggests that they pick a leader. She says that now that they have all 9 Rangers together, they should have a leader. And she nominates herself. Garu says that Lucky is obviously the leader. Hami protests, saying that he can't bring the team together, which actually surprises Lucky. And she says that she's more qualified. So, by that token, Garu kind of nominates himself as well, because he thinks that Hami can't handle being the leader. And then Champ laughs... Oh, go ahead.
I feel like Garu nominates himself to spite Hame. At least that's the impression it kind of gives off, but then it seems like they drop that concept later on in the episode.
For me, like, my issue that I had was... While I understood where Hami was coming from with her reasonings why, she should be the leader, there's 2 issues I take with it. One, she says that Lucky can't bring the team together, which is literally exactly what he did for the last 5 episodes. That is literally been his entire job for the last 5 episodes. And then the fact that Hami's saying that, she's more suited to be leader, despite the fact that up until now has shown no qualities to it because they've kind of overlooked her character for the first 5 episodes.
No one's really shown any leadership qualities except their excuse of Lucky being a leader, which I still don't accept.
Right, I don't accept it, but given the explanation that Hami gave, I can kind of agree that out of everybody, Lucky has been more of a leader because he has done literally exactly what he was supposed to do, regardless of his methods of doing so. Because while it has literally been entirely pure luck that he got everybody together. That's what the first 5 episodes were designed for, was getting the team together, and it was literally Lucky who did. Much as that drives me nuts, I do agree with that, but yeah, I don't feel like Lucky has earned the title of leader beyond that. He seems more, at this point, of his attitude either fluctuates between I don't care or I'm a show-off.
And we will talk more about Lucky not caring later.
So then Champ laughs and nominates himself, Naga does as well, much to Balance's surprise. And then Raptor starts fantasizing about her being leader, and Lucky interrupts and nominates himself. So Sholompo suggests that whomever does the most work on this mission gets to become the leader. And I guess that means that 3 people and Stinger are automatically disqualified from that challenge, which I thought was kind of funny.
So 2 things. First off, Raptor would have made a good Akiba Ranger with the delusion thing. Secondly, Sholompo is literally telling them, don't work together on this, let's make it a contest. It's fucking Sentai!
The whole purpose of this series is teamwork.
And he is the commander officer. He is the Doggy Kruger of this series. He is the wise deity Tauren of this series. He is the one that is supposed to encourage them to work together. Which he later does in this episode when they fail to work together. But he's the one that disencourages it in this exact moment.
The other issue I had with this entire setup was when it comes out of who's going on the mission. Because you get, Naga throws his bid in, for whatever reason. Which the look on his face when he did it was creepy and disturbing and amazing. And Champ threw his, hat in the ring. Is like, so we had 5 people that were, set for this, I want to be a leader. And he, Commander Not Doggy Kruger decided on this contest for whatever reason, and not all of them went. So it 2 were immediately disqualified that were actually seeming to want to do it for whatever reason.
Balance was chosen, even though he didn't put his name in. Now, from a roulette chance, there was that random chance of, so yeah, there's that. But from a writing standpoint, why would you ever do that?
I could have understood it better if they would have went more of, what was it you mentioned, Goseiger?
Yeah, okay, so in Goseiger, they get asked, who's your leader by one of the villains. And this isn't, early on either. This is, in the 30s. This is 3/4 through the series. And they all realize, oh, we don't really have a leader. So Blue's like, I'll do it. And they go on this, espionage mission where Blue does a thing, and then he realizes, okay, I don't have all the answers. And Black comes up with an idea, and so he's like, you should be the leader because you had a good idea. And they just play leader tag for the episode, except for Red. And then when it comes around to Red, he's just like, why don't we just improv off each other like we always do? And they realize, oh yeah, who needs a leader? We just work as a team.
It, with me, it's that, if they wanted to go this route with the whole picking the leader thing, in being forced to use the roulette, the roulette for the, dumb plot device that they created, then it shouldn't have been just one mission. It should have been a series of missions. That way everybody had equal opportunity, for lack of a better term, because despite the fact it wouldn't be equal, because, several people would go out together several times, but it would have seemed more acceptable rather than the way they did it in this episode of, oh yeah, 5 of you want to be leader for whatever reason. Yeah, 2 of you ain't even going to be able to go on the mission, so you're out of the running. It seemed just with the way that it came about with the writing and the way this episode was made, literally just seemed forced to end with the stereotypical Red is the leader. Because that's what it seemed where it was entirely heading is, oh, well, let's see here why Red becomes the leader. Which, given the fact that this series was supposed to break so many rules, break the mold with Super Sentai, aside from the first 5 episodes, it's not done so in my opinion. It has failed miserably on that. Because we're not getting, the mixed teams that are going on missions. It's literally 5 people, like it has always been, and every once in a while, a 6th one will show up.
And, let's look at the 5 that were chosen this episode. Lucky, Hame, Garu, Spada, and Balance. Now, first off, Balance didn't even put his hand in the leadership running. So, and I don't even recall him doing anything this episode. Even in the fight sequences. And then Spada is hardly any better. he only tried to break up an argument between Hame and someone. In the end, this episode only needed 3 of them. Lucky, Hame, and Garu. Hame because she instigated the whole who's the leader thing. Garu because he's challenging her. And then Lucky because Hame is challenging Lucky. And that's the only 3 that should have been on this mission, period.
Which I agree. It's like, to me, this mission, with the way they said it, there shouldn't have even been a roulette to chance. You had 5 people who wanted to go on the who wanted to be leader, and you set this rule. You should have not even done the roulette to chance. It should have just been, here, go, you 5. You go fight this out. Go figure it out yourself, rather than do the roulette to chance, which screwed off everything.
Okay, well, I think that if they did go with the 5 Rangers dishing it out, it would have had to have been a 2-parter. Because imagine trying to fit in development for all 5 of them and their different paradigms and dynamics and stuff into one episode. That would have been really bad. So I'm kind of... I accept the fact that 2 of them weren't really involved in the conflict and we could just focus on the 3. But probably if they did all 5 and made it a 2-parter, it would have had... This episode would have had some more weight to it. But, yeah, I mean, I think the ending of this episode was good, but the whole middle was kind of meh. But, yeah, we should probably move on. So, let's see. Yeah. We've already talked about it in the discussion show. Does the Q let the chance? Hami, Spada, Garu, balance, Lucky. They go to Earth. We cut to humans with a bunch of numbered vests on. They're kind of marching and they're being surveilled. And then we cut to a different group of humans, I guess just dancing for no reason, just cause. The governor arrives and he shocks them, literally, and this forces them to follow his commands. So, Garu, Lucky, and Hami show up, they're already transformed. They attack and start arguing over who blasted Denbiru. Balance and Spada show up behind them. Lucky takes the chance while Hami and Garu are fighting to engage Denbiru. He asks for a strong Kyutama. Sho puts number 33 on the table, and it turns out that table that they're always around is actually a pentagonal pool table. Go figure. And Raptor breaks some billiards, and one knocks the Kyutama into the goal, and teleports it to Lucky. This was pretty random, but I guess it was kind of neat. I don't know. Any thoughts on that whole pool thing?
Oh, that! Oh god, that was the stupidest. Everything about that was dumb. The Kyutamas aren't solid spheres. They're like, globes in the, things that hold them. Is there a word that I'm not thinking of here?
Stand?
Yeah, like... And then what if Raptor didn't even just hit it with the cue ball alone? She broke the 9, or 18 rather, hoping to like hit it. Like, what if she fucked up that shot?
The only part of that I can accept for an explanation is the fact that she's a robot. Other than that, yeah, I agree. That while it was different and unique and, okay, here's an explanation of how they're getting them to the belts, it seemed entirely unnecessary because he could literally just have... Because he was standing right there, he could have just literally went in the hole. It seemed unnecessary to even be in the episode.
Why a pool table? Why is that how they're teleporting these things?
Here's the other question. Since when is that table a pool table? It's always just been a table.
Well, I think we've seen them playing pool on it in earlier episodes, but like for 2 seconds because plot. But if... Like, how long has this been established? Like, earlier when they first got the, support Kyutama, Raptor parachuted down to a planet to give one to Lucky.
And then in the next episode, they did, Spada used cancer, and it was just, he hit the button on the belt, and there it was.
Oh, right, they did the Gokaiger thing.
Yes, which is what I guess the similarity for that is supposed to be, was... Here's all these extra things we have. We don't have a system for them to have them physically on them. Let's do the Ex Machina, something's tied to the ship, blah, 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 hit the button.
Were these episodes written by different people?
so far it seems like this entire series has been written by different people, and this has been the worst for me so far. Has been the worst example of like if I wanted to show somebody what this series is about, it damn sure wouldn't be this episode. This episode is just there's too much in it. Nothing's explained right, and it's just sporadic.
So yeah, Lucky uses the Pegasus Qtama and he Saiza attacks, but is kind of confused because there's a delay. And then a Pegasus chest plate forms on him, and the Pegasus calls him an idiot because he didn't address him with an honorific, and to call him Pegasan. And even Lucky is kind of surprised, and then the opening, yeah. I thought that was kind of funny that Lucky was actually taken off guard by that.
Yeah, that
Lucky was the
neat.
best character this episode, sadly.
I'm disappointed that the fact that my favorite character in this episode, outside of Naga, because Naga will always be my favorite character for this series if they continue to use him the way they have, was Mr. Pegasus. Because, yeah, his, just the way they utilize that and the fact that it's sentient was different. It's the first sentient one we found, or rather seen. And the fact that he just literally does not care.
So I looked it up. All 6 episodes so far have been written by the same person. The first 5 were all directed by one person, and then this episode was directed by a different person.
That might have something to do with that. Can we have the director for the first 5 episodes back, please?
Takayuki Shibasaki.
No more vacation for him.
Most of his work was in Go Busters.
Is this the original director or the new one?
That's the first 5 episodes.
Okay.
And then...
Which, that makes sense because the start of Go Busters was fantastic, in my opinion.
The director for this particular episode, Hiroyuki Kato, did a lot of work in Go Saiger, Go Kaiger, and Go Busters.
How did he mess up? Those were good series, especially with the fact that he worked on Go Saiger, which literally did the let's pick a leader thing perfectly, in my opinion.
I mean, he didn't write the episode.
Right, but I mean, I think because of the way that with the directing choices that were chosen for this episode, ended up screwing off a lot. Because, like, I understand as a director, there's only so much you can do with a given script. If the script is bad, there's only so much you can do to save it.
Oh man, this guy directed the Go Busters Returns movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there before my spirit is crushed. I think the crossover episodes will be good, but anyways, yeah. So then after the opening, we get the title Space 6 Take Flight Dancing Star. Hami's laughing, I guess at Lucky freaking out, but gets serious and joins the fight. Spot unbalanced star change. Lucky introduces himself to Pegasan while the others are fighting. Lucky tries to join in, but Pegasan starts throwing him around and smashing the Indibi and part of a building. Garu fights the governor and accidentally trips Hami. Then Lucky lands next to them. The other two try to defuse the argument, and Denbiru mocks their lack of teamwork and rallies more Indibi to fire at them. And then when they try to counterattack, he uses mind-controlled humans as shields in between attacks. And he's kind of just sick of the Rangers being so uncoordinated, I guess, and he just orders everyone to leave. And he pridefully leaves the fight. He's like, I don't have time to deal with you, I guess. And Pegasan causes Lucky to fall, while Hami and Garu are literally butting heads, or helmets, whatever. And then Lucky ends his transformation, but Pegasan is still attached to him. Does anyone have anything to say about this fighter?
Nothing about the fight itself. I mean, they got into each other's way as you would expect when they're trying to compete against each other rather than work together. I will say it caught me off guard when Lucky untransformed and Pegasan was still there. That was a neat little touch that caught Lucky off guard as well.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. It's like, because normally this type of stuff, it's, oh, we have a new power, we can't control it. It And then it just comes down to, transformed training. And it's, no, you're going to do that. You have to do this crap on your own. No power assist or anything like that. And the fact that it seemed genuine shock with Lucky, going, oh crap, you're still here, aren't you? I like that. And though I did like the nice touch of Hammy and Garu, button heads. That was adorable to see in the background.
Yeah, I did like that. Then we cut back to Oriongo, where Sho is talking to Pegasan, and he explains to the Rangers that he went to various constellations to find the Kyutamas, including the Pegasus constellation, and he brings up actual storyboards about his adventures. And Pegasan explains that he admired Sho's desire to fight dark matter, and so he became a Kyutama somehow. I guess he turned his spirit into a Kyutama, I don't know.
It says
Very
that he
mysterious.
joined him.
Yeah, but I mean, on the picture board, he was an actual, like, Pegasus with a body sort of thing.
And he was, like, shooting a laser from his horn at a Kyutama.
Yeah, pretty strange. But it is kind of interesting, though. So yeah, then Sho says that he defeated a giant beast on planet Babon with the Pegasus Kyutama, and then Naga just breaks the fourth wall, looking at the camera, and says, "This is a lie." No way, this is true. So great.
I absolutely love Naga. This is the utilization of Naga that I enjoy. Just this is bullshit, and I'm calling everybody on it. I may not physically call them on it, but I'm letting everybody else at home know.
In previous episodes, like when Raptor was revealed as a KyuuRanger, and then Sho Lampo was like, "What a surprise!" and I was like, "You knew, didn't you?" I thought that meant like Sho was onto more than he was telling, and Naga was catching on to him. Nah, Naga was just referencing the script.
Like just that the entire setup with that I'm really enjoying. And does anybody here actually believe anything Sho says beyond the fact that he helped go find the Kyutamas? Which I'm partly doubting that now too.
I believe he met the Pegasus before.
Like I'll accept that he's helped find them and whatnot. Everything else that comes out of his mouth, I'm just assuming is a lie now.
Yeah, but I guess that is part of his charm, is that he does have serious moments, I guess, when he's not lying. So yeah, then Hami says that she's not really interested in his stories and asks who did the most work, and Sho announces that it was Lucky. Hami blames Garu, Garu blames Hami. Pegasan interrupts and says they lost because they did not work together, and Sho says that the best way to accomplish that is a dance training.
First off, Lucky did not do the most work. Okay? It was literally Pegasan who was jumping around and pulling Lucky's body along with him because he's attached to it. So saying Lucky did the most work is bullshit. Lucky did nothing.
The only thing I'll accept on that is his body was involved. Beyond that, yeah, he did nothing. But because going that route, yes, Lucky/Pegasus did take out the most enemies and whatnot. I also feel he should have been penalized for destroying, part of a building.
I honestly expected Pegasan to be declared the leader. And you know what? I might have been more okay with that than what we get.
Yeah, I agree.
Stinger gets called by Raptor, and she says that there's a dance training. He refuses because it sounds boring.
He was just politely telling her to piss off. He's supposed to be a spy. She shouldn't just be casually calling him for things like this.
Seriously. Sho says, "Oh, whatever, we'll just do it without him." And they all start dancing to the ending song. And at first, they kind of look like they're doing decently, but then Pegasan starts jumping around. The BN thieves kind of start like break dancing. Raptor starts fantasizing about being an idol, and then she starts dancing like an idol. I thought that was a pretty funny scene. Just how everything just falls apart.
Naga really kills it.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm watching it right now. He is the best.
He really is. It's like while I did enjoy this scene, to me it seemed like it was just a shoehorn to put in, the dance.
Oh, totally.
But it worked well to point out just how disjointed they are, and furthers my thought and Rai's thought that they put Raptor in as an apology for not making the KyuuRanger 3 season 3.
Could be true. Could be true.
But yeah, the Naga was the best part of it. Naga and Balance were the best part of that.
Yeah, like Balance almost hit Spada in the head, and Spada like pulls his hat off.
It's like that weird ballet breakdance thing Naga did, where he like pirouetted and squat and stuck his leg out. I was like, I don't know what I'm watching, but I love it.
I will take more of Naga's dancing anytime.
Especially if he has, the wrong emotion on his face while he's doing it. I want to see him doing that when he should be happy, but he just looks like he's just, at the serial killer level of pissed off.
Watch him, like, breakdance with, like, on the verge of tears.
That would be hilarious.
That would be pretty great. So yeah, then we cut back to Stinger, who's observing dark matter, kind of bossing the people around, and he encounters these two aliens, Ikagen and Madako. And Ikagen asks if he's seen any KyuuRangers. Stinger doesn't answer. Madako demands that he answers and calls him an octopus. Yeah. And then Ikagen tells her not to get mad while he himself is making really bad squid puns. Yeah, about this. I thought that their suits looked pretty damn good, and then the whole pun thing just kind of ruins it. But then I guess that is pretty decent setup for what happens later, and I'll just say it right now, they're kind of badasses, and yeah, Stinger kind of gets screwed a bit. But yeah, they seem like interesting villains for now. Any thoughts on these two?
He's a spy. Why is he the worst spy ever? He literally left the team so he continues spying for the KyuuRangers so they can get information on, where the Shogun is and all this other stuff. And he literally finds the first two enemies he could find and goes, I'm a KyuuRanger. And I could have accepted that if there was any chance of showing that he literally could have just wiped the floor with these guys. But there wasn't. It was just literally, here's two guys. Let's reveal myself. Which, to me, ruins every single part of validity to his character for me, with him being a spy. Because you don't do that as a spy.
Hey, listen. If you heard two idiots making a bunch of squid and octopus puns, what would you do if you had to jump on
I
them?
would find out, if I was a spy, I would find out who they were, what their powers were, what their strength was, and whether or not I could take them on my own.
Honestly, if they came off like idiots to me, I'd try and abuse that and get information out of them. He doesn't even try.
Yeah, it's
just, here's two guys making puns, I'm gonna kick their ass. It was, to me, it was a bad choice in writing. With every opportunity that they have given for his character, with him being a spy, is phenomenal. Because, he gets revealed as a spy, in his Let's Be a Good Guy episode. And they destroy every single monster who knows that he's a spy now. And then he went back, and now it's, well, crap. It's literally, the next episode is, crap, you can't be a spy anymore. Now they have to find a way to explain, how he gets the drop on these guys before they can tell anybody. Which, to me, that'd be the first thing I'd be saying. Hey, I just fought a guy with a scorpion tail that turned into,
We identified the orange KyuuRanger. He wears a white cloak and looks like this.
Right. Is like how are they, now it comes down to how are they going to get around that?
Let's get his face on a wanted poster right now.
Because literally, if I was a bad guy, that would literally be the first thing I would do is go, hey, you remember what he looked like? Yeah, let's make a poster. I'm letting somebody know.
The Zangiak knew what they were doing. As soon as Guy joined the Gokaijers, they had his face all over the universe.
Right. In fairness, he didn't hide the fact that he was a Gokaiger around anything.
I'm just saying that on the Zangiak's part, they were efficient about it.
Right. It's like, if you're gonna have this emperor, galactic conqueror civilization, at least make them know what the hell they're doing when it comes to their enemies.
They had Don's face on a poster, and every time they looked at it, they went, "Who is this guy, anyways?"
Right, it's like, but it was on the thing. It was just, oh, okay. It's like while they may not have known who he was, they knew he was a threat. This is where you get into an issue of having an established galactic order and having to create a new show that has the same thing and have differences. You end up screwing up the wrong parts of it. Because, to me, they should be extremely efficient with information. Especially given the fact that they've already shown the technology level difference between, what you would expect them to have. It's almost instantaneous.
Yeah. This episode really was just all over the place. But let's move on. So yeah, they ask him if he knows about the KyuuRangers. He says, "Oh, I know something about the KyuuRangers." And then we cut to commercial break. I have to laugh it off. Then we cut back to the dance practice. Lucky is still flopping around. Hami scolds him, and then he flops around some more, and then she just gives up, and Garu gives up as well. Spada calls after them, but is ignored. Lucky gets up off the floor and says that he's actually having fun, and is determined to tame Pegasan. So, at least Lucky's having a good time.
I'm having trouble figuring out what the point of the dance lesson was. It didn't seem like it was a team-building exercise because they didn't have to work together, but at the same time, the point was for them to start dancing in sync, I guess? So...
Yeah, it was more of, like you said, dancing in sync, because here's a dance that has specific moves. Everybody do it and get on time with it. It does show a level of coordination, or however you pronounce that word, because I don't know why I messed that up. But it does show that level of, okay, we can work as a team based on the fact that we can do the same thing at the same time. Because being in sync, like, because they did that with a few series, not so much using the dancing part of it, but in Go Buster, he had to be able to coordinate with the other Rangers to do the formation for the mech.
But that was something that actually made sense and had practical use.
But like I was saying, it's like it with the dancing part, it wasn't so much of, I guess, teamwork as being able to work in sync, and which I guess it works for this.
This is why we have Naga. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that Naga's the best with this entire thing. Just keep remembering Naga. Keep remembering Naga. I may forget how bad this episode was.
Happy place. Happy place. So then we cut back to Stinger and the two aliens in the secluded area. Madako asks if there's really a ranger nearby. He says there is, and just totally reveals himself. Star changes into Poison Star, Sasori Orange. Stinger asks if they're dark matter assassins here to kill them. I mean, okay, I'm just, we're not even going to talk about the scene. We're just going to get through it, because we already kind of did. He charges in with the Q spear, but all his attacks are dodged. I guess that was kind of cool, that the pun villains are kind of tough and agile. He fights the two, but realizes that he's outmatched, and he just digs underground like his Voyager did. Yeah, so, spy things. Then we cut back to Hami alone in the cockpit with the lights out. Garu walks in and grabs a drink. Hami starts walking away, but Garu asks why she's interested in becoming leader. She says that it's because she can't stand how Lucky operates, and just the fact that he's lucky isn't enough for her to support him. Garu refutes that he's more than just his luck, but then she goes on to explain how she was born into Shinobi clan, and she worked hard to become a shinobi and worked hard to become a KyuuRanger. And then we get a green flashback of her sparring with Champ and Spada, so I'm guessing that they were rangers before her. And she says that she always fought through the pain in hopes of defeating dark matter someday, and that's why she can't acknowledge someone who's all luck, despite how hardcore his luck is, I guess. But any thoughts on Hami?
So, in this entire episode, Hami is the only one that's actually shown any real interest in wanting to be the leader. After she brought it up, the others were like, well, maybe I could be the leader, and that's as far as they get. Hami's the only one that's actually, like, actively pursuing it, and then they just kind of gloss around that and focus on her obsession with, so why do you not like Lucky? She's actually been trying to work hard to achieve what she has, and she looks at him, and it looks like he's literally like being handed this on a silver platter, which he kind of is. I know that's a Sentai trope where the Rangers get everything handed to them, but Lucky is like getting everything.
The only slight argument on that, at least with him becoming a leader, is with this particular, I guess, storyline for it was I think it's the next thing in the notes. Hami gets shown, Lucky still, busting his ass to tame Pegasus and all that. It's like it shows that he's not just all luck. That he actually wants to, get better and be better rather than just I'm red, so give me everything. He does legitimately seem to want to earn stuff based on this scene. But I am finally glad that we have at least some backstory on Hammy, and because I really thought that they were gonna just like skip over Spada and Hammy. So that was very, very nice. And
Yeah, I'm totally glad we're finally getting something for Hame.
now with the one quick small comment on the Stinger fight. I enjoyed the fight. It was very well done in showing just how outclassed he was.
He got his ass kicked. He clearly walked into that thinking, I'll just deal with these two real quick, and he was probably in the mindset of, I'll interrogate them after I kick their ass. And then he got his ass kicked first.
I was trying to put it nicely, but yeah, he just got wrecked.
Yeah, he wasn't dealing with the average Sion to be. So
Way to quote Vegeta.
So then Sho Lompo walks in and tells her that she has the wrong impression of Lucky. Then the two follow Sho to find Lucky in the gym, still training with Pegason. Sho agrees that his luck is extraordinary, but he asks her what she thinks of what she sing. And basically Lucky's there practicing the dance, he's smiling, having a good time. And then Sho is certain that Lucky's positive thinking is what brings him his good fortune. And then he goes on to say that the dance could have been pointless. So he's admitting it. But it also could be the key to victory. Yeah, right.
He is literally making this up as he goes.
Pretty much. He's the best BSer. And Garu and Hami get kind of motivated. Hami says that she won't lose to Lucky. And then she and Garu join him in the practice, and then I guess the other Rangers decide to show up as well in their sleepwear. But yeah, thoughts?
I love that rapper has a onesie.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who noticed that. But like, for me, the best thing about this was it literally showed that. That like I said earlier, like Lucky doesn't. It's not just so much luck with him, as it is his way of looking at things. And it's a fair thought with Sho's explanation for it. Of it's his personality, his outlook on things, and his optimism that brings him his good fortune. Because that is a rather standard look at life. If you're looking for, it comes from that whole idea. If you're looking for the good, you will find the good. If you're looking for the bad, you'll find the bad. So you can tend to at least feel luckier if you're really optimistic about things and happen to focus on the good things that happen, rather than, in the case of Lucky, him, screwing up and, getting his, not being able to control the power, and he doesn't get dejected by it. Which does give him the idea of luck when he does finally, control the power. And, it's a good, as much as I hate the whole luck issue with Lucky, at least it's a halfway decent explanation for the way he is.
He also actively earned his skill with this power-up by working with it rather than just being able to use it off the bat, which is kind of the opposite of the norm, which is weird, considering his lucky thing. Mixed feelings.
Yeah, I see what you mean. But, yeah, then we cut back to Denbiru about to torment some more people. And then the sortie team interrupts. Denbiru is sure nothing has changed since they last fought. And Lucky says, well, they'll find out. And then the Ranger Star change. Their roll call is in numerical order, of course. And Lucky is last because I guess he has a...
Roll call is led by Hame.
Is it?
Yeah, it's led by Hame.
Oh, so it's
which
not
is
numerical,
neat because
then.
it's Hame's episode. It's a Hame specific episode. It's about her, and she leads the roll call. A Sentai trope that hasn't been used very often recently.
Yep.
Which it's one of the few tropes that I wish they would focus on more.
Yeah.
I think they did it a few times in JuOjer, but it gets looked over for the standard let's start it, for lack of a better term, start at the bottom and work your way up to red. So it usually starts with the red always being the one who initiates and all that. So it was nice to see that it wasn't true to form, because this series does the roll calls backwards anyways, because it starts with Lucky rather than ending with Lucky like most of the Sentais do, because most of the Sentai roll calls end with red.
Most start with red, don't they?
Yeah, most start with red.
They have been. I may not be paying attention right, because I know JuOjer ended with red.
JuOjer ended with red, and VashieRanger ended with red because they went by sibling age.
Yeah, you're right. I did misremember things. For some reason I ran the American thought in my head with it.
I know specifically in KyuuRanger, red was always first because they did their count of their kind of like rules or code or whatever. In Shinkenger, red was almost always first because he was the lord and the rest were the retainers.
Yeah, and Gokai was red. Gokai was first.
He was the captain.
Same thing with Go Buster, and yeah.
KyuuRanger. KyuuRanger they did count up because they were all numbered.
Yeah, I went stupid.
Bokenger was the one where occasionally they would do it backwards because they had like a special reason for it, and it was neat.
Yeah, quite fond of Bokenger. So then let's see. Yeah, Lucky is Dancing Star Pegasus Shishi Red. And then the ending song starts without vocals. The Rangers fight / dance through the Indabi and the human shields. And Denbiru kind of starts dancing in the background. Thought that was kind of funny. Champ observes from the ship that their teamwork is sharpening their attacks, and he's impressed that Sholompo pre-planned that whole scenario. And of course, Sholompo takes the credit, but Raptor and Naga aren't convinced, and then Naga breaks the fourth wall again, and he says, yeah, he definitely didn't plan this.
I agree with Naga.
Naga. The Oriango's bullshit detector.
If we were talking about Master Shafu from KyuuRanger, I would totally believe that he planned this, because that was his thing where he knew these kinds of things. He had experience from training in one's lifestyle, but Sholompo is literally making it up as he goes. Like, he couldn't be any more BSing his way as a commander.
Yeah, I don't know why they decided to make him a dragon. He's just a troll. But yeah, so the Rangers beat the Indivi, and Denbiru questions how he lost. Lucky says that they won't lose to people forced to fight. Hami says that they're fighting because they want to. Then Lucky kind of just goes ham with the Q sword and Pegasan and beats up Denbiru pretty good. And then he says that each one of them is a shining star in the galaxy and that they've become a team. They're the strongest. That was kind of a decent moment.
So there's a Sentai trope that isn't used here, which is the focus character being the center of the finisher, which definitely hasn't been used in a while. And I was kind of upset that they didn't do that here after giving Hame the lead in the roll call. That they didn't make her the focus of the finisher. It was just showing off Lucky's new Pegasus sword. I really feel like that should have been saved for next episode or whatever.
I understand why they did it this way. I'm not thrilled with it, but yeah, it was like you said, pretty much to show off that that Lucky had mastered the Pegasus. But with the fact that she was at least lead in the roll call, I can kind of look the other way that they didn't use the center trope for the finisher. But yeah, it would have been nice to see.
I'm totally fine with it just because of how sincere he was about them all being shining stars and that they're the strongest together. Like, none of the other Rangers would have said something like that. So I thought that was a pretty good moment for Lucky, and it didn't seem like Sholompo bullshit. So then they use the all-star Pegasus Impact with their Q weapons and defeat Danbiru, but he's still alive. Because the Rangers summon their Voyagers to go after the Morai Mazu. He just gets back up and jumps in the robo, saying that protecting it is his most important job. The Rangers got die.
Don't make Hame a lake, 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 son of a bitch!
Yeah, I wish she wouldn't have been the leg on this too. Especially with the fact that she was a focus. It's like, oh yeah, no, we're just gonna step on Hami for the rest of the episode.
They gave her the thing where, like, she helps trip him once, but come on, everyone else has gone to do a cool attack move. Why does Hame get the short straw here with the mech?
Yeah, it is a bit disappointing. I guess it's because Balance and Nagas are so much more badass. They're human. They have humanoid forms. They're just too cool. But then Lucky uses the Pegasus Q-Tama for the mech finisher, which is pretty much he just flies up to him and smacks him with his shiny wing. But that wrecks him. And then we cut back to the Oriongo. Lucky's concerned because Pegasan isn't responding, and then dramatic music's playing while Sholompo says that his sacrifice will not be wasted, and everyone's distraught until Pegasan shouts not to just kill him off, that he was just sleeping. And then he tells Lucky that he'll help again when the time comes, and he reverts back to a Q-Tama.
This implies that he just won't be in every episode power-up.
Which I'm grateful for.
Oh yeah, Lucky effectively got the mid-season upgrade, episode 6. I am totally down for them not abusing it.
Oh yes. It's like I'm hoping that if they do end up abusing it, that it'll be like the way they did with the power up in Shinkenger, where it's, oh, I've got this one. Hey Green, you need it this week?
Pass it around, yeah, share the love.
Right, which in theory should be a thing with this power up, in my opinion, rather than it just, oh, Red has a power up, let's focus on that.
Let's get a funny episode where Raptor tries to use it and has so much trouble.
Right, and, because she's a robot, and it just, I have this weird thing with the fact that she's a robot, that she can fly, and that just being a competition between her and Pegasus on who's doing the flying.
Let's have an episode where Stinger uses Pegasus and nails it first try, unlike Lucky.
Right, because that I just don't want them to focus it just on Red, and just because if they're not going to do a group power up, at least let it be used by other members and show the difference in how they adapt to it. Which, for the case, like the way they do it, they did in X-Aid with Dragon Knight Hunter, where the one guy had a problem with it, but other people haven't because they're better with it, just naturally. It's like, let that be a thing.
Yep. So then Hami says that she entrusts Lucky to be the leader, but he smiles and says that he's not interested in being leader. and she's kind of asks why, and he explains that they don't need a leader because every ranger is a star. And Champ proclaims that with justice, no leader is needed, and everyone kind of laughs. And Garu tries to act like, oh yeah, he knew this was gonna happen, but Hami calls him out on it, on his loss of faith with Lucky.
This makes me so mad. Like, unbelievable. We haven't. So, Hame spends the entire episode literally devoting herself to being like, I would like to be the leader here, give me a chance, I will try it, I'll do what it takes. With other people being like, well, maybe I want to try it. And then, rather than focusing on. They ask at one point, why do you want to be the leader? But rather than focusing on talking to her about it, they go back to, why can't you just accept Lucky as the leader? And then when she finally does, he just tosses aside, like, who the fuck needs that shit? Like, why couldn't you just give Hame a fucking chance? The only person that actually cared about being a leader. Why did you focus so much on ignoring this request of hers?
To me, not only did it do all that, to me it nullified everything that went on in this episode in terms of the character development for someone becoming a leader. Because it's one of those, like, they went through all this crap for someone to become a leader, and, you know, Lucky basically steps down when given it, and nobody goes, okay, well, how about you now? Like, it's just, everybody else just literally goes, okay.
And, like, in Goseiger, when they had this episode, the other 4 Rangers all gave it a try, and then realized, wait, I don't have all the answers, it shouldn't be me. And then when it came around to Red, he didn't even try, because he was just like, nah, we just work as a team, whatever. Who needs a leader? And everyone was like, yeah, true, that's right. And it was flow naturally, because all the others had already realized they didn't want to be the leader anymore. They realized, no, I don't want this pressure on me. I can't solve all the problems. They weren't, because they were all still rookies. They were all like, I can't handle this responsibility. Here, it's just like, one person is trying to take on that responsibility, is working hard towards that, even following Sholampo's stupid rule of, let's make a contest out of it, and everyone just kind of overlooks that.
It's like, and for me, it's like, it went a step further with the, Red is a leader kind of thing of, despite the fact that these people wanted to do it, Red goes, we don't need a leader, and everybody goes, good call. Like, literally following Red. It's that whole, it's like, there was no debate or anything else on it. It was just, they offered Lucky, and Lucky's like, yeah, we don't need a leader. And everyone went, okay. Rather than, like you said, like, giving somebody else an opportunity that wanted to be the leader from the start of the episode.
So, in that episode of Goseiger, after they defeat the monster and stuff, the other 4 are sitting around the table and they're like, that was a good idea Red had. As though they're kind of acknowledging him as a leader, but the whole point that they maintain is that there is no leader. They just realize, no, he was right about this.
This episode was just a train wreck.
Like, I imagine, like, at Toei, so, like, the lead writer was like, there have been some complaints about Reds these past few Sentai and how they behave, even though they're supposed to be leader, like Daigo and Ride and stuff. Should we maybe make someone else the leader this time? And then Toei was just like, nah, if Red's not going to be the leader, none of them need to be.
Do we need another pink leader?
Time Pink made a great leader. She was the best Pink Ranger we ever had.
But, yeah. Lucky sees Hami and Garu arguing, and then he says, it's time for another dance training. And then everyone pretty much agrees but Hami, and then they all start dancing around her. And then the ending theme starts. Just rubbing salt in the wounds of Rush.
Yeah, that was so rude. But I did like the fact that at least in this episode, Hami had character.
Oh, definitely. I like her now. This is the first time she's laughed and I felt it was genuine, and she did it twice.
like her reactions to everything this episode seemed honest, and it didn't seem just like, oh well, that's just the way this episode is written.
Her laughing at stuff those first few episodes felt so forced and awkward. Now I finally get what they were going for, and boy was that bad acting direction those first few episodes. I feel sorry for that actress.
Right, because it literally seemed like in just a whole poor directing and poor writing choice from the start of it, because there was no explanation given for why she's the way she is, why she was doing it. With this episode, it starts to, the pieces start clicking into place. But to me, this is one of those things that should have kind of been dropped when she did it the first time, rather than, let's wait a few episodes and let people get annoyed by it, and then we'll explain it, and it'll all make sense. While that works with, like, plot, to me, it doesn't work well with character development.
And instead of focusing on growth that would make her a good leader, they just kind of keep pushing her down. Like, why can't you just accept Lucky? Why can't you just be friends with Lucky? Why can't just Lucky be the leader? Like, in KyuuRanger, Yellow is just chosen to be the leader, and so she has an episode where she tries, and she just comes off as bossy, and so instead of, like, trying to be the leader, she just kind of lets things go as normal, and is pretty much becomes the leader in name only. But she still is the leader. They gave her a chance, she tried it, and no one really objected to her being the leader after she stopped trying, which was good character development for her. In KyuuRanger, there's the running gag early on where Umeko Pink keeps calling herself the leader, and the others are just kind of like, yeah, you go ahead and keep believing that.
Dude, Matt, they keep that going in the 10 Years After movie.
At the end, when Red's like, the new leader is Pink, Pink's like, but it was originally me. And they made a nice joke out of it because she was a more dim-witted character. But here they don't even give Hame a chance. And I know this probably sounds like it's coming off as like a feminist thing. It's not. Gender doesn't matter here. This could literally be Spada we're talking about, and I'd still be arguing the same thing in that they wouldn't give him a chance.
Oh, if this was Naga, I would end the podcast. Just no. But yeah.
I would love to see Naga as a leader. At least for just one episode, just for the hilarity that would ensue.
Any other closing thoughts?
Yeah, final thoughts?
Yeah. I hope that the whole whatever we get after this crossover episode is better. I'm looking forward to the crossover episode because we're gonna get a focus on balance, and balance has been pretty ignored. So hopefully they don't screw that up. And if they don't, I think it'll be a pretty good episode. But yeah, this episode just had way too many problems, and if you're watching this episode, you've probably listened to the other episodes. We're not always like super critical like this, but this episode just had way too many problems. So I think it can only go uphill from here, to be honest. But
Here's
yeah,
hoping.
those are my thoughts.
I already said my final thoughts.
Mine is like Decade said, this episode had so many problems, and if you've listened to our podcast before, like you said, it's like we're not critical of the series the way that we were on this episode. That shows you just how bad the problems were with this episode. I'm hoping that, especially after the crossover episode, that the stories start getting tighter and more executed better, because this is the perfect example of a story that could have been entirely done differently and worked with the proper control of what was going on. There was too much, and at the same time there was too little. Like, there was too much focus on, stuff that ended up not really mattering by the end of the episode, which could have been focused more on, like, them getting the teamwork down beyond just the retarded dance training. Like there could have been like they could have gone back. It's like, okay, we've got this down. Let's go back and fight. And it's, oh no, we still have problems, and they get their ass kicked again. They could have done it that way, which I think would have worked a lot better. But yeah, it was an issue of bad choices throughout the episode, with everything from the writing of the episode for me to the direction of it. But if this is the first episode you have seen of this series, don't judge it by just this episode. This series so far has had some phenomenal things for me with this series, so give it a chance beyond this episode. Whether or not this picks back up, we will just have to wait and see, but at least the first arc was good. That's all I've got. But thank you guys for joining us with this podcast. We look forward to having you back, and same time next week, or whenever this gets edited and put out, because we suck at timetables.
See you next time.
Yeah, thanks for listening.